And how are you? That's a question we ask when we meet each other. I'm not sure we really mean that. I don't remember a time when I expected some kind of profound answer. But how are you? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about yourself? How are you feeling about time? How you spend it? What do you do? Is your age having any effect on you? How are you looking at tomorrow? What are you thinking about what's happening in your world? In America, in the world, in the Middle East, everywhere. What do you think? Are you aware that what we think is what we experience? If we think things are in a mess, we'll be a mess. If we see some purpose to the messier it gets, the more excited it gets. Are we going somewhere? Or are we just ambling through life? I've taken opportunity in the last 6 weeks, 2 months, lost in the kingdom. That's what I call the grandest theme in the universe. What do you think? If I had to ask you, what do you think the greatest theme is? Is it you're making money, or you're becoming important, or you're doing something to get famous, or you inheriting $1 million? Does that stuff turn you on? Well, if so, the lack of it turns you off. And so, what I've been doing, and you have to understand, you undergo some revision in the way you think when you get to be 70 or 75 or 80. Now, I want to say first of all that aging is not for sissies. Don't ask God to let you live a long time if you're not ready to man up. Put on your big britches. If you're not ready to woman up and say, I want to live because I like my life in God. I can't imagine anybody having a good life without God. So, it's been a time when I've asked myself, do you really believe what you're saying? This is outlandish. Do you know that? This is weird. I mean, this talk about a gospel that we call the gospel. Now, that's different. Good news is one thing. The good news is another thing. We're talking about a book that's in effect several thousand years old, and we're calling it the book, as if we believe it's the most important book around. Well, let me tell you one very big thing I've decided. That if this is not all that matters, what is in this book, what it represents, the story it tells, if this is not all that matters, I'm prepared to say nothing matters. And if it's all that matters, nothing else matters. What am I saying? This book tells a story, an outlandish story of God creating time, matter, life, light, and things going wrong in the earth. Well, I'm not worried about the timing. I feel like it's happened. It really has. I've not been able to seriously question anything in this book. Oh, a lot of things I have human questions about. God, one of them, God, you seemed in a bad mood all through the Old Testament. Now, it seemed to me that when Jesus came, you got in a better mood. But I know different, you see. I would seriously question, God, you want us not to kill, and yet the Old Testament is a pretty bloody book. and a lot of it you shed. First of all, I'm really getting honest as best I can with God. Like Teresa of Avila, for instance, who was a great mystic. And she one day said, God, I'm not amazed that you have as few friends as you have from the way you treat the ones you've got. I feel like that sometimes. Lord, what advantage really in the short run, I know it's different in the long run, but what is the advantage of really knuckling down, paying attention to responsibilities, doing what you know to be right instead of what you feel like doing? Am I making sense to you? Well, if I am, it's God making sense of it, because I can't make much sense of it on the basis of having good sense. So for the next 2 or 3 times with you, we're going to talk about this book, the story it tells, how we're supposed to feel about it, what we're supposed to do about it. And I feel like what we're doing is knocking at the door of the only area of satisfying reality in the world today. Is that making any sense to you? So let's just introduce the book. We call this the Word of God. Now, it is the Word of God in the sense that this is the result of God breathing. There's nothing living about this book. It's made out of dead cows, dead trees, and I suppose you have to kill an octopus to get the ink out. So, hey, you can explain this book quite well. This was made out of cow, this is made out of trees, and the print you see was made out of ink. A big deal. But this is the book that has withstood the ages. Mine. I'll tell you in the next time we talk together. In the meanwhile, why don't you just say, God, I want to think. I want to rethink prayer. I want to rethink my position about death. I want to rethink what I'm thinking about the world. What do I think of the world without me in it? And so, my challenge to you is, let's think. Let's think. Let's find out what we don't know, and let's find out if what we think we know is valid. We might need to put everything on the block and question the validity of everything we've ever believed, everything we've ever done, and what we're planning to do. Is life on this planet such that it can be expected to keep you excited until you die? Well, I may not be able to convey that all the time, but look at my face. I am an excited old man. Old? Yeah. I just got over being 81. Oh, I got over 80. And I'm going to get over 81 in a little while. So that registers me as an octogenarian. Sounds like a dinosaur of some kind. But that's what I am, and I'm excited. Well, what are you excited about? I'll tell you in the next round. This is a book that declares that you have a right to feel like you belong to something, that you're going somewhere, and that there's a measure of pleasure and excitement about it. So, join in again and let me know what you think.